most people, we don't need more How to Succeed books. What we need is to give ourselves permission to succeed. In other words, millions of people like me, that's what I was doing. I was holding myself back from the level of success I was perfectly capable of. I read every self-help book, which are how-tos. Right. And that's when I realized, wait a minute, we don't need more how-tos. We need to understand why we are allowed to succeed, to give ourselves literal permission to succeed.
Hey there, and welcome to Money and You. I'm Michelle Perkins, your host. My search for more fulfilling work led me to career and business coaching, where I stumbled upon a game-changing discovery. Money issues often start with our mindset and habits. You see, our relationship with money is the key to overcoming those frustrating financial obstacles. As an entrepreneur, coach, and problem solver, I'm passionate about helping you create a great relationship with money. Because, turns out, that's the foundation for a limit-free life. Each week on Money and You, I speak with amazing guests about all things money, mindset, practical tips, and everything in between. We're here to give you new insights, education, and empowerment so money can be one of your favorite relationships. So join us for some lively conversations and let's transform your financial life together. Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Money and You Show. I am really thrilled to have Dr. Noah St. John back with us for the third time, which is very flattering. And I'm very appreciative that he is sharing his wisdom and knowledge with me, my audience. And he's so prolific and always has new books, new programs. And I'm so excited for him to talk to you today. We're going to really dig in deeply into both the inner game of money, which you know is my favorite thing to talk about. And he is one of the experts in this area and talks about head trash and all kinds of exciting things that you're going to love. And then we're going to follow up with actually a part 2 on the outer game, how we actually integrate this into what we do to get the results that we really want to get. So without further ado, we're going to have such a good conversation today with Dr. Noah St. John. And he is the creator of so many things, but Done with Head Trash is one of his latest. Dr. Noah St. John is known worldwide as the father of affirmations and the creator of the 12-week breakthrough. He works with Hollywood celebrities, 8-figure company CEOs, and professional athletes. Dr. Noah is famous for helping people make more in 12 weeks than they've made in the previous 12 months while winning their lives back. He's also the #1 bestseller, author of 25 books, and creator of this newest, Done with This, at donewithheadtrash.com. There's so much we're going to talk about today, and he'll continue, I'm sure, to share some of his background with you during our interview. So we're just going to start right now. So welcome.
Well, thanks, Michelle. Great to be back with you.
It's so great to have you here again. There's always so much to talk about. I feel like the last shows we did were so chock full of great information, and yet it's hard to end them because we're really still talking. So today we're going to do a 2-parter and really dig in. So tell us a little about what you're thinking with this head trash idea.
Well, absolutely. You know, as you mentioned, I've written 25 books on this one subject, basically, which is how to take out the head trash that's holding so many people back. And so that's what I've helped people do for the last 30 years. And as a result of my coaching, my clients have been able to add an additional $3 billion. That's billion, meaning we've helped people from CEOs, athletes, celebrities, but also regular mom and pop entrepreneurs, chiropractors, health professionals, network marketers, basically everybody listening to this program to add 6 figures, 7 figures, and even 8 figures by following my methods and my, my training program. So it's really, really powerful, and it really makes a big difference in people's lives. And it's really exciting, and we have a heck of a lot of fun.
Yes, I'm so in love with this. And also, we're talking about money because people, of course, this is, a show called Money and You. So it's not a wonder that we're talking about money. But everything that you're about to talk about applies to every aspect of your life. And so I really want people to get that this isn't a money concept. This is a life coaching
That's right.
concept. Yeah. So how have you seen this information play out in a variety of different ways?
Well, there are three main areas that human beings have stress about. And that really boils down to health, wealth, and relationships. So if you think about those three areas, your health, right? Think about your health, and that affects every part of you, right? It's often been said that a healthy person has many problems, but someone who doesn't have their health has only one problem. It really makes sense when you think about it, right? Because if you have your health, then sure you think about all these other things, but if you don't have your health, it's like, oh my gosh, that's the only thing I really care about. So of course your health is very, very important, and that means your weight, your peace of mind, your stress level, and so forth. So very, very important, your health. Then, of course, wealth, right? Money. Last time I checked on planet Earth, money is an important thing, but only if you want to live. If you don't mind not living, then it's no big deal. So last time I checked, it's kind of important. That's money and wealth. And then, of course, relationships, right? And so when I help people with their relationships, both their personal lives, their professional life, their married lives, and so forth. So when you look at health, wealth, and relationships, I often say that there are really only four areas of stress: health, wealth, and relationships. And stress is caused by all three of them. If anything is wrong in either of those three, you got a problem, right? So that's what I help people with. So you're absolutely right, Michelle, is that I don't just talk about money, even though I talk about money a lot. One of the reasons I do talk about money is, number one, I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood. And I know that's a total cliche, but it's true. I grew up in this little town called Kennebunkport, Maine, which is one of the wealthiest communities in New England. But my family was dirt poor. And I mean that literally, because we lived at the bottom of a dirt road in a drafty, unfinished house that my parents ended up losing to foreclosure when I was just 15 years old. So I was painfully exposed to the chasm between the haves and the have-nots. The haves was everyone else, and the have-nots was my family. So the point is, I hated being poor. I'm sure we've all heard motivational speakers get on stage and they'll say something like, well, we were poor, but we were happy. We didn't know we were poor. Well, in my family, we freaking knew we were poor. So it wasn't happy. It sucked. And so the point is, I really, really hated being poor because I saw that right down the street, there's great wealth and abundance. So my whole life, I wanted to understand, how the heck do I get from here to there? Meaning from not enough to enough. And really, that's why I've written 25 books on this subject and created all this coaching and training programs. I really did it for myself because I read over 400 self-help and success books, money books. And sure, some of them were good. Most of them didn't say too much, but they basically all said the same thing. Oh, set your goals, think positive, make a vision board and do it, work hard. Okay. Yeah. You're not helping. So anyway, that's why I've written all these books, was for myself. But of course, what's really nice is to have so many people all around the world that have also benefited from my work.
Yeah, absolutely. And part of me, when I'm listening, thinks, yes, you did this for yourself, but I think you had a deeper purpose and a sort of an intuitive calling to go beyond just in other ways to make money and do that. So I feel like this was I don't know, nut you wanted to crack, not only for yourself, but to help other people as well.
Yes. Well, as Emerson said, what is most personal is most universal. So I knew that it was personal to me, but I knew intuitively that there were millions of people just like me who were also, like me, searching for an answer, searching for a solution, and had also, like me, tried many, many things that really didn't work. And as it turns out, I happen to be exactly right. I've helped over 3 million people now through my books, my coaching, my training, and my seminars. So yeah, I did. Yes, I did it for myself, but I knew that there were lots of people like me. And it turns out, yeah, that's really true. There's lots of people who maybe they didn't grow up poor in a rich neighborhood like I did, but it doesn't matter. They're like, gosh, I'm working really hard. Why am I not able to break through this income ceiling? And that's one of the things I've been able to do: help people go from 10,000 a month to 100,000 a month, go from 100,000 to a million, go from a million to 10 million, and yeah, go from 10 million to 100 million. So wherever you are on that ladder, we can help you.
Yeah, and you bring up so many interesting points, but what just jumped out at me as you were saying this is you're helping people without regard to what what they do or what industry they're in.
That's right.
Because it's not about that. It's
That's right.
all coming from the same place, no matter what it is that you do. Because that's another message out there. You've got to find that work that is the most, you know, revenue generating, or there are certain jobs that are going to just be the ones that make money and others that don't. But I know that you found out there in the world with your clients that almost anything people choose to do can be lucrative. It doesn't. It's so much about what's going on in your mind for everybody.
Correct. And what I've noticed in working with entrepreneurs and business owners, CEOs, is most people, when they start a business to solve a specific problem for a specific person. Often that person is themselves, right? Like Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, they started Apple Computer because they wanted a personal computer. You know, they said, I want a computer on my desk. Well, we can't have that. Well, build one. All right, great idea. Apple Computer, $10 trillion company, you know? So there's millions of examples of that. But really, that is what I've seen, is that most entrepreneurs, they start a business. Sure, they want to make money. They want to change the world. But really, it's about making a difference. It's about solving a specific problem or set of problems for a specific person. And that really is what is enabling people to keep going, to really get those breakthroughs. So whether you are making $10,000 a month or whether you're making $1 million a month, it really is about the same thing. It's about solving human problems and alleviating human suffering.
Right. Right. And, a lot of the things that you mentioned as well, the self-improvement world. And so you come to a point, if you've been in it long enough, where you realize a lot of the same things are being said in different ways by different people, and they have their own style. And so, one person will resonate in it, but mostly the material is very similar. And then it's how you use it and how you take it in, really. And so what I like about you is you're a bit of a disruptor, in the sense that, you looked at affirmations and you decided they don't work for everybody. They're cool. I like them, but I have a better way to operate in that way. So yeah. And
Right.
I do really like that you've looked at the industry, you've looked at what people are saying, and you've tried to make, I think, and you can correct me, but I think you've tried to make it all actionable.
Well, you're absolutely right, Michelle, and I appreciate you saying that, because that was one of the big things that really bothered me when I was reading those 400 self-help books, is most of them, the vast majority, were just a bunch of stories. Story, 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 story. And honestly, I'm so like bottom line, get it done, action taker. I was like, who cares? I really don't care about your story. What I care about is, give me a checklist of what I'm supposed to do to make more money or to be more successful or to be happy or whatever the goal is. And very few did that. Very few, a handful. And I was frankly shocked. I'm like, why didn't they say anything? And I mean, I'm going to be totally controversial here, and some people will hate me for saying this. But like when I read Think and Grow Rich, I was so disappointed, because everybody talks about Think and Grow Rich is the Bible of self-help. And I was really excited to read it. This was many, many years ago. And because, of course, Think and Grow Rich is a seminal book, right? I mean, it's one of it's like on the Mount Rushmore of self-help books. I read it and I was like, dude, you didn't say anything. You really didn't say anything. You spent 150 pages telling stories, interesting stories, sure. But what am I supposed to do now? What do you want me to do? And it's like, well, think about money. Okay, I saw that on page 1. I mean, what are we doing here? And there are people who worship that book. And I'm like, okay, but I read it. I got to the end. I'm like, you didn't say anything. So, like I said, I'm annoying that way, because I'm like, will you just give me a checklist? Give me a checklist. Tell me, do A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what all of my books are. When I wrote my very first book in 1997, it was called Permission to Succeed, because I realized most people, we don't need more How to Succeed books. What we need is to give ourselves permission to succeed. In other words, millions of people like me, that's what I was doing, I was holding myself back from the level of success I was perfectly capable of. I read every self-help book, which are how-tos.
Right.
And that's when I realized, wait a minute, we don't need more how-tos. We need to understand why we are allowed to succeed, to give ourselves literal permission to succeed.
Yeah. So let's jump into, the whole head trash idea, which are limiting beliefs the same as head trash?
Yeah, sort of. But I mean, everybody says limiting beliefs.
I know.
And I think that, I guess you could essentially say they're equivalent. I just prefer the term head trash because to me, that encompasses more than limiting beliefs. So if I say to you, hey, you got to change your limiting beliefs. Okay, great.
Yeah.
But if I say to you, you got to take out your head trash,
Yeah.
that instantly gives you a picture in your mind. In fact, that's why I've written all these books on it, like Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. Like this is a one book. You guys can go get that at sendmeabooknoah.com. The book is free, by the way. You can get it on Amazon or anywhere books are sold. But if you go to my website, which is sendmeabooknoah.com, easy to remember, sendmeabooknoah.com, and I will send you a book. All you have to do is cover the shipping. But anyway, this is about, there you go. Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. It paints a picture, right? You can picture trash. And it's actually funny because that's exactly how I teach it. I'll tell you what I mean. So whether I'm working with a client, whether it's one-on-one coaching or group coaching, or I'm doing keynote presentations for teams, organizations, companies around the country, around the world, as a keynote speaker, I get to do it live, virtually, all around the planet. And one of the things that I'll say to my audience members or my coaching clients, I'll say, okay, now I want you to imagine that you're in your home, right? And every week you take out the trash, right? How many people here take out the trash every week? Of course, everybody here raises their hand, right? And I say, okay, well, I want you to imagine that this week you decide not to take the trash out. You just say, you know what? I don't feel like taking the trash out. Okay, and a week goes by and don't take the trash. All right, and then the next week goes by, like, you know what? I don't feel like taking the trash out. I'll just leave it. Okay, trash is piling up. Next week goes by. I don't feel like taking it out. Another week goes by. Then a month goes by, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years. You haven't taken out the trash. How's your house doing right now?
Yeah, it's pretty smelly.
It's pretty bad. Have you ever watched those shows like Hoarders on TV? Those, and they go into these homes like, oh my God, and people haven't thrown anything away for 5-10 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's really dangerous. I mean, you could die. It's really, really bad. I was talking about health here. I mean, imagine that for your health, really bad. So now I say to my audience members or my coaching clients, I'll say, now I want you to imagine and think about how many people do you know that haven't taken out the trash in their head for maybe 5, 10, 20 years? Anyone you know, perhaps? Of course, they start laughing, because I think we can all identify with that. Right? It's like, man, I'm holding on to these things from years ago.
Right.
Maybe somebody said something to you or looked at you funny or did something, and you're still carrying it around all these years later. And how is that affecting your health, your wealth, and your relationships, the things that I talked about earlier, right? So do you see how emotive that is? You can literally feel that in your body versus if I say limiting beliefs, it's not bad, but head trash, that's very evocative for the reason that I just said.
I totally agree with everybody's using that create confusion, really. I even found that with myself, talking about your relationship with money. It's like I had to really create some courses and things that would help you understand what that is, because just the term doesn't really get you there.
Yep.
So I really love what you're saying. And I do think people are, limiting beliefs. And then you go into your own head and you try to figure out, well, what are my limiting beliefs? And some of you don't always know what's your limit.
That's right.
So-
Usually not.
That's right. Yes.
Usually
And
not.
some of these beliefs you think are valid, I'd start to believe this because I won't get in trouble if I believe this, or, yeah. So how do you know what's actually trash and what is like something that's keeping you safe?
Well, I have a process for that, which of course I teach in my books and my courses, but I can give you, everyone listening to this program, I can give you something you can do right now, literally in the next 60 seconds. This is one of the things that I teach my clients, that I teach my speaking in my speaking engagements and my workshops, whether live or virtually. So this is something every single person listening to my voice can do right now. So the first thing that I encourage my clients to do is you do need to be very clear on what you want. Now, we've heard that a million times, right? We've heard, set your goals. Always going to say, set your goals. And I've heard that a million times. Well, number one, yes, you've heard it a million times. But number two, have you actually done it? Because believe it or not, as many times as we've heard this, most people still don't really know what they want. They really don't. And now here's an example. People come up to me and they say, well, no, I want more money. And I go, okay, here's $5, go away. No, we got to be a lot more clear than that, right? No, you can't say I want more money. No kidding. Everybody does. But what are you wanting to go from 10K to 100K, 100K to a million, million to 10 million, 10 to 100 million? I mean, these are all very different things, right? So where do you want to go? And what is it you want? And by when? Or you can't just say, oh, I want $10 million by next Tuesday. Okay, well, good luck with that, So the point is, yes, you need to be very clear on your goal. So everybody talks about goals, right? Heard it a million times. But what happens next? This is what most people don't know about, and they haven't been told really. Because that's what the gurus will do, is they'll say, set your goals, and then believe you can do it. No kidding. Well, thanks a lot, man. Yeah, that's really helpful. Okay, thank you. So the point is, you set that goal. Right. And as I stated, remember, we're not just talking about money. Money's very important. 83% of people hire me because they want to make more money. But I've still helped people lose weight, get in shape, find love, save marriages. So it's not just money, it's everything. Okay. So be clear on all of those things: health, wealth, relationships. Be very clear. Number one. Number two, then I want you to say what happens after you set the goal. So here's what happens for most people. They set the goal. Hey, Noah, I want to go from 10K to 100K, or 100K to a million, or a million, 1 million to 10, whatever. But I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. I don't have the time. I'm so busy. I really don't have the time. I can't afford it. I don't have the money. I've tried everything. Oh yeah, I went to all these coaches and they all lied and they all let me down. They made big promises and then they didn't carry through. They didn't follow through. They promised me the moon and they just let me down. I don't think I can. I don't know who I can trust. I don't have the connections. You see what's happening here? You said you want the thing, but then the very next thing you said is, I can't do it. And so what's fascinating is you're going to make yourself right. You're going to make yourself right. This is my definition of head trash. And it's really one of the reasons I've helped my clients make $3 billion, because of this step right here. We're identifying what your trash actually is. Oh, I can't do it. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I'm too busy. I got kids. I've got all these responsibilities, or I'm divorced, and I don't believe that I can do it, or I don't know if I can do it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know who's going to help me. You see all these reasons we have? And guess what? You're going to make yourself right. See, Henry Ford said, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. With all due respect to Mr. Ford, I've updated that statement based on my teaching. And what I say is, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you make yourself right. You're going to make yourself right. Meaning if you say, well, no, I want to do this, but I don't have the time. Guess what? You don't have the time. Meanwhile, I can come in there, and I do this with my clients every single time. I find 1 to 3 hours a day. I literally find them 1 to 3 hours a day. That's why you said in the my introduction that I'm known for helping people make more in 12 weeks than they did in the previous 12 months while winning their lives back. That's what this is. Right? Literally winning back 1 to 3 hours per day and 4 to 8 weeks per year. I'll give you a perfect example. I was talking with one of my clients named Charles, and I said, Charles, and he'd been reading my books. He'd been studying me, watching my videos on YouTube. So he understands, or he understood what makes me different from those other coaches. And I said to him, Charles, how much do you think your head trash is costing you right now? Like, if we don't take out your head trash, how much do you think you're going to lose in the next 12 months? How much do you think it's going to cost you? Without batting an eye, he said $1 million. He said, no, it's easily going to cost me $1 million if I don't take out my head trash. I said, Charles, it's very common. I talk to people every day who tell me their head trash has cost them $1 million, $2 million or more. So I said, why don't you just give me 10% of that million and I'll find you $1 million in the next 12 months? In other words, if you give me $1 and I give you $10 back, is that a good deal? He goes, yeah, that's a good deal. So he did that. He decided to invest $100K to get one-on-one coaching with me, right? That's 10% of $1 million, right? $100K. That's why I love working with high achievers, right? Because they make decisions quickly and friendly. He didn't dilly-dally, no, I got to think about it. He just said, let's do it. So he invested that $100K. I coached him for a year. As it turns out, I didn't find him $1 million in the next 12 months. Instead, I found him $1.8 million in just 10 months. So he gave me $1 and I gave him $18 back. Is that a good deal? No, that's a great deal. And he emailed me. He said, Noah, guess where I am? I'm on a 7-week vacation right now. He said, this is a dream I've had for years. For the last 20 years, I've wanted to buy an RV and drive across the country with my wife, but I never had the time or the money. And now, because of coaching with you, he said, now I have more time than ever and I have more money than ever. So I bought a new RV. We're taking 7 weeks off and my business is growing faster than ever. He literally said, thank you, Noah, for changing my life. So that's how powerful this head trash really is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see it all the time. This is such perfect timing because I'm just off a weekend retreat where, really my goal was to come up with a new vision. And I love what you're saying because a plan or goals are not the same as a vision. The vision is something we actually don't know how we're going to do it. And we really do have to get rid of the order to even envision the vision.
That's right.
And believe. All of that is belief that has to really come a little bit in advance of the doing. So I don't know. How do you vision your next 3 years? Do you know how that's going to happen? I did hear a story that actually made me laugh about how you found your wife.
My wife, yes.
The reason it made me laugh is because one of your requirements was, I understood all of it until you said somebody who doesn't drink coffee. And I was like, coffee is my favorite thing.
I know. Can I share that story? Would that be all right?
Please, I loved it.
Yeah. So talking about health, wealth, relationships, right? So back in 2007, I had just gotten out of a really bad relationship. And I was like, I realized that I was settling. I hadn't been clear on my goal, exactly what I was just talking about. Here I am teaching other people and I wasn't doing it for myself. No kidding, right? So I said, Noah, you got to get clear on what do you want in a woman? And I realized that I had been afraid to do that. I really was. I was scared to do it. So I was just settling. Sound familiar to anyone? Anyway, so I was like, all right, dude, come on. You're telling other people to do it. You got to do it. So, all right. So I sat down and I said, all right, well, first I want her to be, of course, she's got to be very attractive. You got to be beautiful. I love blondes. I want her to be blonde. She's got to be shorter than me. I want her petite because I'm just an average size guy. I don't want this tall girl and I'm in pictures like this. I'm like, no, she's got to be shorter than me. Ego. Come on, I got a big ego. Let's go right here. Right. So I said that, gorgeous figure. She's got to be smart and funny, all that stuff, right? But then I was like, all right, let's get really specific. I said, all right, well, number one, can't drink alcohol. I don't drink alcohol. I'm a teenager. I'm a teetotaler. I've never drank. Never, even when I was a kid, I never did it. And I don't like alcohol. So number one. Number two, no smoking. Hate smoking. No drugs, none of that stuff. Never did that. Number three, no tattoos. I don't like tattoos. Oh, I know everybody's got tattoos nowadays. Well, I don't like them. I don't like tattoos. I'm old fashioned. What do you want? But then this was the kicker. She can't drink coffee. Can't drink coffee. I don't like coffee. I don't want coffee in my house. It's expensive. It's an annoying habit. Don't want it. I literally wrote that down, and I swear to God, what I said was, you just eliminated every woman in America. That's what I said. I said, this is impossible. This is impossible. This is not going to happen, man. Impossible. And then I am not making this up. I was in New England when I wrote that. I was, living in New England. And in April, so that was January 2007. In April 2007, I moved here to Ohio. And 3 weeks to the day after I moved here, I met the woman who would be my wife, Babette. You've seen her picture. She's gorgeous. She's beautiful. She's shorter than me. She's petite, gorgeous figure. And yes, she checks every box. No smoking, no drinking, no tattoos, and no coffee. This is impossible, but I did it. What's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is even if you think you can't do it, if you take the action, follow through, you never know what can happen.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And for, I do love the idea of literally thinking through and writing down what you want, whether it feels possible or not, whether you have the resources at the time, know it, how to do it. But that's where I think and that's, I guess, where the head trash starts showing up. I mean, if you need to get clear where your head trash is, start setting some big goals.
That's right. Yeah. And I mean, I literally said, this is impossible. Impossible. You can't find a woman who's going to meet all these criteria. It's not going to happen. I said that, and I'm the guy teaching this stuff.
And so,
but I still took the action. That's the real point of the story. I still took the action. And when I met her, I absolutely 100% said, there's no way she's going to date me. There's no way she's going to be interested in me. She is so far above my status. Forget it. So, but what did I do? I called her anyway. This is the lesson for everyone listening. I called her anyway, even knowing she was going to reject me. Right? I was 100% certain. So I said, well, did you want to go out? Yeah, sure. What? Wait, what?
Yeah. And you hit on something so important.
Joe was on the floor. She didn't reject me. What's going on here? This is nuts.
But you really kind of just dove into the piece that even though in your head you're saying she's going to say no if you call her, you still called. And I think that's where that, I mean, again, it's the head trash that's going to try to direct you and make your decisions for you. So how do you help people not listen to it? I don't know. What do you...
Well, I mean, if you want to get to the simple answer is if you hear that trash, just go right in its face. Just go right to what it says you can't do. That's the simplistic answer. Of course, in my books, in my course, you mentioned my new course called Done with Head Trash. If you go to donewithheadtrash.com, easy to remember. And see, it's really easy to remember because what does everyone listening to this program want to be? They want to be done with head trash. There you go. Donewithheadtrash.com. Yes, Noah, I want to be done with head trash. Go to donewithheadtrash.com. That's my online course. And then, of course, I did mention my book earlier. If you prefer books, send me a book, noah.com. But donewithheadtrash.com, send me a book, noah.com. We want to get rid of your head trash. Very simple. We want you, everyone listening to this program, to be done with head trash. So that's why I'm actually leading the Done with Head Trash movement. This is a movement. This is a global movement. Because like I said earlier, this isn't about me. Yes, I'm the guy talking. But how many millions, billions of people around the world are really struggling with this thing called head trash? Well, I would argue most humans, last time I checked. So, yeah, this is the Done with Head Trash movement. So the point is, you can do what I said a moment ago. Write down what you want, even if, and maybe especially if, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And you don't believe it.
Right.
That's why I shared that story, my true story of my wife, and how I manifested her, if you want to use that word, which I don't really use that word, but yeah, I kind of did.
And that's a skill set. That's a practice because it won't feel, it will feel weird until it doesn't. I mean, but you have to keep doing it. And once you see, just like, you proved that if you called her, she actually would go out with you. But you would have never known. You would have just sat in this idea that she wouldn't if you hadn't taken that action. And then once she says yes, I mean, then there's some momentum and there's also some deeper understanding that, you shouldn't listen to everything.
That's right. Don't listen to that guy. Don't listen to the guy. So just take action. And by the way, you mentioned in the second part of part 2 of our interview, we're going to go to that outer game part. So we've been really talking about the inner game here in this interview or this episode. In the next part of our episode or episode 2, we'll talk about the outer game because yes, you have to do both of those. If I just sat there in my room and said, manifest, 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 that's the real problem I have with all those manifest gurus, so-called gurus, is it's like, well, no, it doesn't really work that way. You have to move. You have to take action. And I argue, and I've proven it to the tune of $3 billion, you have to go right in the face of that head trash. Exactly what it's telling you can't do, that's where you need to go.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. So that is where we're going. And, this is the most important piece, is the inner gate, really. And because you can do all the actions and do all the things, but if that head trash is still talking to you all the time, it's still dictating your life.
That's right.
So, okay. Well, thank you so much for being here. And I will put all those links in the show notes so people can either join the program, buy the book, or both, or they don't even have to buy the book. They have to pay some shipping for the book and
Yep.
all that in there. And I cannot wait to talk to you on the next show about how we really implement and take this to the next level. So thank you so much for doing all the work that you do in this area and writing the books and doing the program so people can really have access. Like you say, it's one thing to hear it, but it's another thing to you know be taught how to do it, which
Yes.
for 4K. So, okay. Well, thank you. And audience, thank you so much for listening. And we love having you listen to the Money and You show. And please, if you like the show, share it with your friends and give us some likes and reviews. And that will help us to continue. Thanks so much. And we'll see you next week.